get a big silence to sweep the team fight, but he failed to hit the most important target. He failed to hit Dami, who then dropped the Void Prison down. It allowed them to have that follow-up fight. And there were a few mechanical errors on the retreat there. I feel like maybe they lose that fight and they still struggle but survive. But with a lack of really good retreating there, they were in trouble. Hyde didn't have the bolt to escape. He was stuck behind the wall. He ice blocked him there. It just got dirty.
I think Miracle responded that I think near perfectly even after losing Dami. That Void Prison gave them a lot of time to position themselves to come back in the fight, and they really made that fight. And of course, as you mentioned, not having that bolt to escape later on, not even having the root the mana later on, just costed his life at the end. And that was the game. That was basically the game. And I think Tempest had a really good comp for themselves. They had the burst. I think Sign has been missing his swaps maybe too many times from the beginning of the game. And also Duck Duck on Greymane. It didn't seem too perfect as we saw lots of Greymanes from better players or also crazy moving or Dami before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put the blame solely on him, but there definitely were times where he was not able to capitalize and get extra damage done when he should have. And I think the game was really lost by a lack of coordination in some of these fights, and also Sign just not really getting too much done on the Artanis. Just didn't seem like it was value, with the exception of the racing. Miracle played the better game. They had a comp that had a decent amount of poke, and they always took those really strong defensive engagements. Dami as well on Zeratul, using so much split pushing potential, going up to the lane. Every time there was a moment's notice, he would go up to the lane, clear a wave, and come back down at an unknown angle, which is part of the reason why we saw those lockdown disintegrates looking for him, spinning around because they didn't know where he was. He goes up to the top lane. It's like, okay, he's missing. He's not here. Okay, I know he's coming back now, but which angle is he going to take? Where is he coming from? Just the fear of Zeratul alone gave MVP Miracle a lot, and I think we're going to see Zeratul rising up. You know, he's already kind of first pick material right now for the first pick team. And you know, Nazeebo's even getting to that first ban, so I feel like the rise of Nazeebo, Zeratul, these heroes are going to continue to kind of take the place of Ragnaros, who was a very highly picked, highly banned hero, but now he's nerfed. We're not seeing him as often.
And also banning on the Nazeebo also pressured a little bit more towards Duck Duck, and I think that's where they ended up just having him on Greymane at the end. I think that's where the trail of thinking really connects into, and that I think that really costed Tempest a lot. Just a ban pick strategy for Miracle, I think it's a win that they brought to themselves.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to go into game number 2 very shortly here. With the win for Miracle, it's hard to predict which map we're going to see. I would just imagine they're going to avoid Dragonshire, and we may see Spider Queen or potentially Infernal Shrines as a map they want to pick. The Infernal Shrines is a map where they play the volley composition really well. It's their favorite map to play that. And Spider Queen is a map that they've just historically liked and done decently well. And I actually want to check out their stats on this since we have a little bit of time here. Their Spider Queen stats, where is it at? They are 0-3 at it, actually. So despite liking it, not having the best results.
And
whereas
those
Tempest
0-3, I believe they lost against the lower teams, especially once was Blossom.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they have the best memory on that map either.
I don't think so. Tempest is 3-2 on the map. We'll see where we're going. Oh, it's going to be Cursed Hollow. A map that they, since we're going stats right now, I'm going full Kaldor mode. 5-1. Cursed Hollow, 83% win rate. So, okay, that makes more sense. I didn't actually look at all the win rates. It is their most winning map. And they want to keep it that way.
Yep, and now Tempest will have first ban. An instant response with the feedback. They have to ban Zeratul on Dami. As this map, I don't think it matters the most because Dami and Honkono has been the duo tanks, and often more times Honkono on the Haka or the global tank. So I think Zeratul was an okay ban, but this leaves open Bala and lots of other comps from Miracle which they love.
Let's see if they want to remove the global here themselves, as Tempest is not the team that usually goes into the first pick Malfurion here. And so I think they'll commit to the global if it's given to them.
The question would be Falstad. Lockdown would love to have Falstad first pick and have that back row going around.
I would just love to see the Stormlord Falstad skin, as Lockdown is the Stormlord. Well, a lot of time in this one. I don't even see anyone really spending that much time talking here on camera, so I guess they're just taking it down. It will be the Falstad ban, as we predicted. So now what's going to be the first pick? They might go down the path of just first pick Malfurion here because of the Falstad ban. Although with Hyde's failed bolt into the Twilight Dreams, we're like, oh, I don't want to play that here again for a while.
It was a good engage, but overall, at the end, Boy Person was the defensive tactic that Miracle really brought it together, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the idea was good, and it was still decent execution. But if you don't hit the Zeratul, then unfortunately he just stops everything that you had planned. And when you don't have vision of him and you bolt in like that, you're kind of just taking a shot in the dark. I mean, this is one decent bolt too. I don't want to pick this apart and say it was like horrible for him, but he's definitely going to be feeling like, oh, we were so close to winning that fight because he nearly won the fight for them. A lot of time thought on this one. This is actually one of our deeper drafts. See the Murden come in.
That's because giving 2 picks that will likely going to be Vala open for Miracle, that's the situation where they always picked Vala before. Are they going to show us something different this time? It looks like they are thinking about something else, because usually if it was the old first week 1 to 5 Miracle, that would be Vala Ariel from the beginning.
Valariel. That would have been what they would have brought into the table. I feel like it's tempting right now, but Nazeebo takes the spot. Wow, so an insane late game scaling hero who also will get his Widowmaker quest done very well by poking to also delay tributes while the Dahaka is soaking. So these heroes work really well together because of the delay tactics Nazeebo grants and how much Dahaka can split push during that time. So we're not gonna be seeing any Vala. We're not gonna be seeing anything like that for MVP Miracle. They just want to play the map. They banned the Falstad. This was probably planned from them by the beginning because they knew there was no way that either of these heroes would be picked by Tempest. You and I knew that once Falstad was moved, they would not go Dahaka first pick. It's just not the way that they play things. So this is really well planned out by Miracle. They seem really prepared, and you know, Tempest looked to be playing their absolute best against L5, and having even a loss here already against Miracle, it starts to feel like this could be an upset. Miracle seems very prepared.
And also something to point out is the MVP Miracle and MVP Black has been really putting Nazeebo on top, even banning for today's game. So that's something in common that we see, as they do have the same coach for both teams.
This is a really weird rotation into the draft because...
Why Kerasim already?
Exactly. That's the big question mark. You can grab the Ragnaros here, but why the Kharazim? They must have something really unique picked.
Maybe he listened to us and instead of Malfurion, he just went Kerasim instead. And also, Darvish's Kerasim actually did tons of damage in the last team fights. Not just the core, because he went for 100 Fist instead of Cleansing Touch, because Cleansing was not really needed because not much of CC were connecting from Tempest side on game number 1. So maybe targeting down Darvish and bringing more damage from themselves, and Hyde is the known player for Kerasim himself, even with 7-sided strike. So I think they are putting Kerasim up higher than Malfurion for now.
I'm worried about what Tempest is going to bring for range damage. Again, that's another thing. You know, I can understand your explanation of the Kharazim. It's not out of the question that that's why they would do this, but now Miracle bans Li Ming. It's like, uh-oh. There's a few heroes left. Sergeant Hammer, Gul'dan, Lunara. Well, none of these heroes really fit the composition. So that's what I'm most concerned about right now for Tempest, as they're looking for a tough ban here. I'm going to go with the Tychus, which furthers the damage options for themselves. Further limits the damage options, I should say. I feel really suspicious about Tempest. Like, is this another Probius game? Like, what is... We're going to see something really weird coming out of the last rotation for them. I don't know what it's going to be, because I can't predict a Probius, because for me, the fact that DuckDuck's been able to make that work twice already is still somewhat of an anomaly. Like, I cannot say it's like, oh yeah, it's a solid pick here, you know. There's the hammer I was talking about, removed away from them. What's it going to be with? I almost see these locked in at the same time.
He's still at
No.
Mafia, and likely we're going to see the comp end up with an ETC, possibly with all the auto attack boost, some more CCs to connect. That will be a strong finish on to Miracle's side. Now Tempest, they have to reveal what they've been hiding.
I'm not so certain that they are 100% decided themselves, based on the discussion.
Well, Duck has experiences on his Lunara since last year a few times.
Yeah. And in this tournament, he actually played it only once. Did win the game. I feel like this is going to be a Probius or like something totally out there. There are other damages available, but I'm really thinking about Duck. You know, what is he going to play? Is this going to be a Gul'dan game with this composition?
Or Medivh? Medivh, I think it's a likely choice to also cancel out some damage in the possible at the front lines.
Let's see what they're going to pick. Okay, Vala and Tassadar. Forgot about Tassadar, actually. Like, completely forgot about Tassadar. Even still, a Karzim, Tassadar, Vala is not the Vala that you think to be the scary Vala, the terrifying one. You need at least two, generally speaking, at least two of the Tassadar, Ariel, and Zarya to make it happen as the solo DPS. We could see Vala and a Mage, for example, that can work just fine, but if you're solo DPS Vala, that's worrisome. And the ETC, you called it earlier, 100% solid pick to lock in at the end with the auto attacks coming out. And his potential global presence, a decent amount of interrupts on the side of Tempest. I like Miracle's draft way better. They have global control, they have solid damage, they have good scaling, they have amazing poke. I think that Tempest is going to struggle to make this Vala work, especially against all the CC, the drags, the ETC slide-ins. This is going to be very tough. Solo Vala with just the Tassadar and the Karzim. Let's go into Cursed Hollow to see if they can make it work and tie the series up 1-1. In blue, up a game in this series. Honkono is on ETC, Dami's on Dahaka, Sniper on Sergeant Hammer, Crazy moving on to Zebo, and Darvish on Malfurion. It's MVU Miracle.
In red, Tempest hide on Karazim, Duck on Vala, Lockdown on Tassadar, Sign on Muradin, and Modern Life on Ragnaros.
Vala going into Hatred at level 1, so seeing the auto attack build come out, which is, again, what you would do with solo DPS Vala, but lack of protection.
Again, Duck on Vala and Lockdown on Tassadar. They've been switching roles a little bit here.
Yeah. Feels like Duck has been playing the more carry-oriented heroes recently. Oh my god, Dami actually getting insanely low. Looks like trying to bait hide there. Neither of them die. The response is good for Miracle. They don't lose too much here. And Crazy Movie is just going to stack up a little bit of his trait, his Voodoo Ritual. Full wall down, though, for Tempest as they rotate to the bot. So they're actually ahead in structures, but I feel like Miracle gets the better exchange in terms of EXP. Dami, some serious damage there in Modern Life in the bot lane. That's going to be the solo lane for now. The pushes continue. And this time, Miracle actually wins the race by a landslide. They have Nazebo, so surprise, surprise, and Honkono's got a decent amount of CC that slows down. We'll see if they make the rotation down. It looks like they are. They come down here, hit this rotation. Tempest needs to be aware of this. They need to be aware of this, or they are going to get killed. Making the rotation down. Ooh, weak power slide there. So they get away.
Miracle has a global. That's why I partially mentioned Medivh, because Tempest would also need to respond to that global somewhat, and Medivh just flying around, spotting the heroes on the map would also help with the rotations.
You could potentially, I could kind of see the argument for having the Medivh even instead of the Tassadar to serve a similar role, but it's Duck on the Vala, so that's even more surprising anyways, right? So this game just kind of starts off with a weird twist, but Miracle gets massively ahead. The longer that exchange went on, obviously it favored them. With the global hero they have to be able to soak 2 lanes and the pushing power that they had in the top lane was just vastly superior to what Tempest could offer in the mid lane. That's why they actually have not only the fort down, but also the defending cannon tower, which is part of the reason why they're nearly a whole level ahead in EXP as we go into this first tribute spawn. Neither team was able to hit that Merc timing at 2 minutes because of all the lane pressure. So no Mercs on the map, just straight neutral lanes.
This is actually slightly lucky for Tempest as Dehaka was in the bottom lane instead of the top, and Dehaka is slowly rotating up, looking for his chance to brush tuck in later.
Okay, Crazy moving here. Just gonna start throwing out some more spiders. Just wait for that Widowmaker quest complete graphic to come up, see how quickly you get at this game. Sniper here, taking a lot of damage, but immediately healed. Sign trying to really push the envelope on how much he can do. Dami with the insta-grab. Can they prevent the E? They do. No dimensional shift here for Lockdown, and he is picked off, and Miracle will win this tribute. Oh, they actually stopped channeling it there. I suppose they're afraid of the Molten Core. That's one reason why we see Ragnaros here, but look at that. Another pick already without the Tassadar shielding. Bala is so vulnerable.
Molten Core even popped for just to delay some more time as they already lost 2 of their members, and Tassadar just going top to soak EXP now.
Yeah. Look at how much damage is being done to this wall, too, during the delay. The first cannon tower is out of ammo. The second one's dead.
They have the siege comp, and they have the pressure. They have the global. And Tempest, understand not having global could be a very troublesome from the beginning of the game, but losing an entire EXP already 3 minutes, almost 4 minutes into the game. They have to have a really, really strong push in lane, and then they have to be the one actually taking the force down, but instead it's Miracle already. That's a big problem for Tempest.
Yeah, it really is. They are going to trade this fort for one at least, but it was the fort they already almost had killed. This is an entirely additional fort for Miracle, as the next tribute is also going to spawn blue side. So a great spawn for Miracle. It's also so far away from the lane pressure that we were seeing from Dehaka up in the top lane. Because the lane is so pushed, it's even risky for him to stay up there if he weren't a global. But the channel is already started here for every Miracle. They're looking for the pick on the sniper, actually, and he does pop his first aid to escape. Dehaka coming down is the big worrisome thing here for Tempest. They're on even talent tiers. It looks like it's probably time for him to come down as the fight commences. Darvish actually has to self-heal here. Alcona with a nice power slide in. And Dehaka is still not interested in coming down. Okay, there he comes. Dami coming from the back. Gonna get the drag this time onto Hyde. Does have the mobility to get away, but look at the power slide here. Sign is gonna go down. This is the beginning of the end of this second tribute. It looks like it's gonna be Curse Point for MVP Miracle, as they will have 2 of 3 tributes, an entire level lead. This is disastrous. They had the better comp. I really and truly believe that. And they're even going to try to do this aggressive 5-minute boss timing that we see all the time on Curse Point. Tempest, I think, is going to do their own if they realize this, but look at exactly what Dami's doing now. He's trying to slow down that rotation and gain vision so they can clear this quickly and then head up. He sees this. Hyde didn't even see him. So right now, Tempest doesn't even know they've been spotted. Look at the rotations already starting. They're already coming up. This is going to be a close call. Dami will have the burrow to try to deny this. Looks like he's going to have to use it preemptively. Okay, there's the burrow. He's actually going to die here. He stayed a bit too long. But they still are going to look to deny. Honkoto's coming up. Wants a big 4-man power slide. Actually trying to face melt them into the boss stun. Not going to happen. This is no longer reasonable for Miracle to try to deny with the kill there onto Dami. And really nice disengage here. Darvish, super low, does not have ice block, but they get away.
But that stops them from doing boss, and they lost Dami, but Dami just brought stuck in. They're gonna go all in. They're gonna go chase here. Lockdown is barely shifts away, but the drag is still available.
By the way, this boss is still not dealt with. You know, they bought a lot of time for this. They denied the boss. They pulled him off. They have a perfect disengage. Miracle is playing amazingly right now, and they're going to control this zone here, get the tribute to get Curse, and possibly a second boss. This is an unfathomable lead, not to mention they have Heroics, which I didn't mention. There's another thing that they've got going for them. When you win the first part of the map this hard, you really win it hard. I mean, it's like, well, what can Tempest even do right now? Just kind of have to sit back and take this damage. There's nothing they could do to catch up at this moment in time, except play passively and hope for the best. Sit and wait for 10. It's a big waiting game. It's so frustrating when you get this outplayed in the back-to-back tributes and boss exchange. Well, it's something we see Korean teams hit this crisp timing every time. Since the beginning, since 2015, this map has been around since the technical alpha, and these teams know it super well, and Miracle is abusing it.
Until now, I think this is the game that Miracle, their macro is almost too beautiful. I don't think they have ever played this well with the macro, especially in their zone. Mosh will take out Ragnaros for sure. No Molten Core to actually have their defense. And they barely hit 10. There's a Twilight to silence all of them into one spot.
Yeah, but to no avail as lockdown super low. They want to keep here. Cypher is doing so much free damage to the back, completely uncontested. Even the Gargantuan is getting involved here. Another drag is going to be another kill. And if they don't back off here and play this perfectly, they might find themselves losing the game over this. They do get away. The curse expires. Duck eating so much damage from the spiders. I have to imagine that Widowmakers is done. Did that come up and I missed it? Okay, there it is. I actually feel like it was done early. The graphic may have come up late. But anyways, look at how much damage he was putting off there. Now the boss can be taken. They're going to use this Merc Camp just to help add some extra pressure. They know that the Archon was used. And Hyde is actually caught here. Look at the root. He gets away. Tempest is trying to at least put up a fight here to deny these Mercs being stolen from them. It's so tough. And now the extra catapult pressure in mid is going to be tough to deal with when you have a global like Dahaka. Can even start to threaten the top keep.
When Tempest was always trying to fight, they were behind. One man was always away from the fight because they had to clear away, because they had to clear the camps that was coming from the bottom lane especially. And Miracle, knowing that they really went on hard and they got good picks. They got good power slides in, picked off Tastar, picked off Dami, picked off Honkano sometimes. So Tempest really not having the global is not really working so perfectly for them now.
I'm going to heal here on the Siege Giants just to make sure that they could stay and give this extra pressure onto the keep right now. Tempest down a talent tier.
And they still have the Aka on top pressuring.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about. He's threatening the other keep while all of this is happening. And if there were no Siege Giants here, this push would be over. But because they are, Tempest has to respond. And now Dahaka's on the keep. He is on it.
Yeah, that's when Sign jumps in. No follow-up damage onto Nazeebo at all. This keep is already gone.
It's gone. It's done. See you later. Looks like we're just going to a game 3 where Miracle's on match point. What could Tempest even hope to accomplish given the situation? Oh, the B steps are real. And you know what? We saw earlier the high five from Crazy Moving. And anyone who's been a TNL fan, been a Korean Heroes of the Storm fan since the beginning of OGN's 2015 Super Tournament, or Super League, sorry, so many Super Tournaments in Korea. You know that when you see Crazy Moving smiling, if you're on the other team, you're not having a good time.
Yes,
Crazy Moving is one of the most emotional players of all time. When he's smiling, you know you are having a bad series.
For Tempest's side, yes. And Crazy Moving, from what we've been seeing today, and the care from the entire team, Onkano, Sniper just juking out, and Darvish landing all the palms in game number 1. I think they're just having their day, and Tempest is. They're really losing it from the draft. I think that's the biggest reason right now.
Well, in this game for sure. In the first game, I feel like they got super outplayed in all aspects. In this game, the draft for them is just weak, and Miracle's making all the right choices. And that's kind of how this map works. It's Miracle's best map, by the way. So we talk about them not being known for their macro play, but they're playing really well today. But this is the map they know best. They know how to make those rotations. They're not even going to try to make a double boss play here. They want the 16 talent tier over 10 talent tier advantage. Molten Core is going to be popped here. They're just going to back away, let that time out. Here comes the boss. All keeps down. This is a dire, dire situation for Tempest. They're going to try to make this fight work. The smash misses Sniper. Disastrous. Crazy Moving has a good ice block here. And I think this is the beginning of the end. Sign will help pick up the kill onto Sniper, but it doesn't matter in the end.
There's a drag onto Ragnaros. Boss is already on the core, attacking Onkano, just soaking in the damage from the back line. Sivala, without Tastar, has to back off and hide, and Duck are the only one left as Sign is just soaking in the back line. That's going to be game.
That is game indeed. MVP Miracle, the underdogs in this series. We thought this series might be more one-sided because Tempest was so favored, especially with their games against L5. But this is hands down the best play we have seen from Miracle this tournament.
Yes.
And it's on the backs of a tough draft in game number 1 to make work on Battlefield of Eternity, going to their map pick, having a solid draft, and crisp execution of the timings. They responded to the level 1 pressure that Tempest put into the game immediately, got the better exchange because they have a composition that has 2 specialists. Now, specialist is a term that really is kind of like for quick match, right? It's not really something we throw around in talking about pro play, because really Sergeant Hammer is a pushing hero, but she's a damage, and Nazebo is also a damage who scales well into the late game.
That's right.
But what makes them a specialist by terms of like quick match is that they can push really hard, and that's what we saw them do from the beginning. They had that lead in the early game. They have all the poke to deny the tribute. They won that tribute fight. They had the global into Haka. I mean, the game plays itself. The story writes itself, and I think Tempest has a chance to come back in this series, but morale must be low right now.
Yeah, definitely. Tempest has their chance if they are able to show, like Lockdown say, able to show what they did against L5, which they're not really doing starting from the draft, and also MVP Miracle really stepped